Hello everyone and welcome to this video on corporate crime for A-level sociology. Corporate crime is often underrepresented in crime statistics, giving the impression that most crime is committed by working class people. These crimes include theft, mugging, assault, shoplifting and other petty offences. But corporate crime often goes undetected and underrepresented, but when these crimes are discovered they are often huge, with devastating knock-on effects for wider society. Yet, despite harmful effects of such crimes, there are often very few people prosecuted. According to Marxist David Gordon, the dog-eat-dog nature of capitalism and the excessive competition between corporations leads to risk-taking behaviours with a lust for profit, placed as a higher priority than the rights and safety of people. Large businesses will often bend or break laws in order to get ahead of their competitors. Cutting costs to boost profits may lead to changing or evading health and safety laws, which can have consequences for workers' health and environmental concerns when an incident occurs. Merton's strain theory can be applied here, as businesses strain to achieve the American dream and will often use whatever means necessary to grow rich and successful. When corporate crimes are punished, it is the corporation that often pays a fine rather than a criminal conviction for an individual, and these multinational corporations can often easily afford these fines. So large corporations do not feel much fear in breaking laws, as the punishment is often so small and inconsequential. Globalization. The onset of globalization has made it easier for large corporations to break laws and evade legislation by simply moving production to an alternative country with looser health and safety laws and lower staff wages. In fact, nations actively court transnational corporations by reducing corporation tax, reducing minimum wage and suppressing trade unions. This makes a country an attractive place to set up production, and many well-known clothing labels and products that are sold for large profits in the Western world are assembled in the Third World, where the lowest labour and material prices can be found. One such country where a lot of production takes place is Bangladesh, but this led to a disaster in Bangladesh at the Rana Plaza factory, where 1,138 workers died and many more were injured. This factory was affiliated with brands such as Primark, H&M and Gap. The factory owners kept adding more and more floors for production, and despite worker complaints and safety concerns, nothing was done. Little or no arrests or prosecutions were made, barring one, Sohail Rana, the owner of the building, who got a light punishment and is now imprisoned on an unrelated charge. Very little compensation was paid to victims' families, and large corporations made it difficult for families to make a claim, requiring DNA evidence for their relative's death in the collapse, which is very difficult for the families to attain. Other examples of exploitative, neglectful or illegal activity by large corporations include exploitative labour practices in textile factories in Leicester, England, at the Foxconn factory in China that makes Apple products, where several staff committed suicide in 2010, and the Grenfell Tower incident, where the building was not fitted with adequate safety equipment. Many Marxist commentators and pressure groups continually draw attention to the shocking working conditions of workers in factories and urge shoppers in the West to stop buying products from companies such as Nike, Gap, who are known to capitalise on cheap labour in the Third World. We will now look at the de-labelling of corporate crime. Large corporations often have access to world-class PR firms and professionals who can actively change the image of an offending company through the media. Some charitable donations, sponsorships or marketing can effectively change the public perception of a company in a short space of time. This allows companies to continue to trade and build profits despite the temporary setback of being caught for committing a crime. To summarise, these studies into corporate crime show that crime is not exclusively a working class phenomenon, and when crime occurs it often has large catastrophic consequences, such as the loss of life that happened at the Grenfell Tower, as opposed to one street mugging. It is often Marxists who point to corporate crime to criticise the idea that it is the working class who are responsible for most crimes, and you can use these examples of corporate crime to evaluate functionalist theories of crime in your essay answers. This concludes this video on corporate crime for A-level sociology. Please like and subscribe for more content upcoming. Thank you.